how's this 2020
Good.
quarantine BS treating you?
You know what? At first, when it started, I was terrified. I was scared. I was one of those just like, oh my god, we're all gonna die, right? I was like, I was sanitizing
I was
everything.
gonna say, how are you? Were you with the guantes all over? Like,
Yeah, fucking come with the mask and everything. I had to, would sanitize all of our groceries. Um, it was very worrisome because also, I wasn't also seeing my kids and went a couple months without seeing them, and then I also going from 200 shows a year to zero. Like it was weird being at home all the time. It was weird seeing my dog so much. It was weird. Like, and at the same time, with the fear of what was happening and the not knowing what's happening exactly. That all kind of like took a toll. Like I'm a very positive person. I try my best to kind of like enlighten the mood. And but when something is affecting you directly and like in a way where like you kind of don't know what's gonna happen for um it's kind of scary. But you know what, I managed to get myself out of that. I started thinking, you know what, like there's so many positives in this. I know it's an ugly situation, but you know what, one of the things that this pandemic brought to me was time, a lot of time. And I had the opportunity to finally sit down and work on my mental health and then eventually work on music. And like that is the biggest blessing for me. I know, not that many others are so fortunate. I understand how grateful, I mean, how blessed I am, and I'm grateful for that. And I took full advantage. Dude. I don't, if it wasn't for this pandemic, I mean, I probably wouldn't have made like 30 songs, like probably would have taken me 4 years to make that much, but I was able to do it because of the time.
yeah, I was gonna say, I kind of feel like we all kind of went through that phase at the beginning of the quarantine. Like, we had no idea, we were scared, we didn't know what to expect
Mhm.
because we've never. I mean, I can't believe we are actually living through this. We're gonna be old one day, telling our great
Yeah.
grandchildren about this. You
hmm
know?
I guess this is a big wake up call, man. Like, I feel like if this does happen again in our lifetime, I mean, it's kind of like we'll know, we're like, oh shit,
I
stop it.
But what it made us realize is what was important, right? You said you worked on your mental health. You were able to
Mhm.
focus and create music, and you created 30 tracks, which you're
Yeah,
talking about right now, right? That's part of
yeah.
the album that's coming out. So tell me about that.
Oh my god. So, geez, man, and like, it took me a while to, because I'm telling you, kind of like, this pandemic, and not just that, but everything else, like in my career, not being home and always traveling, all that, it's taking a toll on my mental health, and it took me a long time to kind of get that, at a healthy point. And it was just until recent, like right before the holidays, that I was, starting like approaching music, and that, like, beginning of January, or no, mid-January till like a couple days ago, I was in Miami, right, for like 2 weeks, and and I made 16 songs out there. Can you believe that? 16 songs, man. Like, it's my goal is to not really take people back to the roots where people grew up, what people grew up with. It's not really to take us back to a different time, but it's more like grabbing that and bringing it with us, making it modern, by like reamping some of those sounds and giving it that new flavor, which is like the electronic dance music flavor. And I feel like that journey for me started not that long ago. I remember, I mean, when you're young, you don't really think about your roots and all that. When you're little, but as I got older, I had kids. I started taking care of my family. I got to travel. I got to meet my family in Mexico. I got to see the culture. That's when I started realizing, it was like, damn, like, that's right. Like, the Latin culture has so much to offer the world. It's so beautiful, and it's like, why don't I bring that in my music? It's like, I have the opportunity. I know EDM already, and I grew up with this. Like, why not just start, stitching them together? And like, ever since then, I was just like, that's my goal. I think that's me working at my full potential, um, bringing in two worlds that I know very well, and kind of building a bridge. So that's my goal, and I went with that mentality to Miami. I had a bunch of people in mind, and don't get me wrong, I've been studying a lot of music for a long time, just because I want to work with these big, artists that I grew up with. That I know that I have to work and I have to study their sound, so that I know that when I shoot my shot, you know, it lands
They can't say
comfortably.
no.
Yeah, like it's something that they can receive because it's their language, you know. So like, and that was people like Banda Mexicano, Tucanos de Tijuana, Ángeles Azules, you know, and like even Gente de Zona, you know, like sounds like that. Like I worked really hard, and I remember like I was like, those are my goals, you know. And I sending the music to them last week, and then them responding right away. Everyone, right? Everyone responding like, "Yo, this is dope, yo. Thank you so much for the opportunity. Let's do this." It's crazy to know that like what I did with Elvis Crespo, I get to do again with like Ángeles Azules. I get to do again with Banda Mexicano, with Tucanes de Tijuana. You know, like it's like their sound and my sound. You know, but it's like it's like people will recognize what we grew up with plus me, you know.
I definitely heard it in this song, Me Siento Bien, the very beginning.
Hoy me levanté con una nota, no sé si se nota, pero ya le elevé. Baby, que
I was like,
yeah.
I recognize this sound.
Yeah, like the music, yeah.
You know? I love what you did with the song.
And that was
what is there a specific reason why you chose Alex Rose?
so I remember, okay, so Kura came up to me with this idea, right? And it was like pianos, and it had that very Latin flavor to it. And I told him, this is dope. This works. Please let me jump on this. And you know, he was just like, dope. So I started working on it. I changed up some of the pianos, and you know, it was more like a slow, you know, moomba, like boom, ga, boom, ga, boom, you know. And I was just like, I feel like we should probably turn this into like some trap, you know. And I remember as we were working on it, I remember I sent him the idea. He was with it, and I told him, I was like, let's look for someone that's, you know, to get on this, right? And I had my managers kind of pulled some strings, and they told me, they were like, yo, like, would you like to work with Alex Rose? I was like, that'd be perfect. That'd be perfect. Like, put him on the song. And you know, he sent over the vocal, and I was just like, oh my god, this is perfect. You know, I sent it over to Kura, and Kura was just like hyped. So like, it's, you know, it's that doesn't happen all the time, you know. Like every now and then you're like, oh, okay, well, let's get this person, and they jump on it, and like it doesn't really turn out like the way you wanted it to, you know. So you kind of have to go back and forth, and like, you know. But nah, this one was like on the first try, and it's like, oh, when that happens, it's like, it's kind of like, okay, what happens in the EDM world, right? You have your very high peak energy music, right? As well as like, you know, your more minimal, more chill, right? Like every world has it's more upbeat music, and it's more downbeat music, right? Same thing in the Latin world. Same thing in the Latin world, right? And those are the two worlds that I know. So basically, like what I'm doing is I'm taking a lot of like the upbeat music from the other world that I know, and the upbeat music from this world that I know, and I'm kind of building a bridge, you know. So it's like that I feel like there's no better person to do that than someone who knows both worlds, you know, like very well. Like I don't have to go and study Latin music. Like I have to study the production now if I want to get into it, but like I just know that music already. You know?
You thought about maybe getting into some dembow?
Dembow, yeah. So I do have a couple of beats in my album that are like more dembow, and then like I have some dance hall, I have some just straight urban reggaeton, you know. So I'm all over the place, but I also I'm throwing in some of like the Latin flavors, you know, a little bit of cumbia with some reggaeton.
So the
like,
album that's coming out, how many songs are going to be on there?
That's the question, right? That's the golden question. I mean, right now we're sitting on about total, right? Total from even some of the singles I already put out, like 24 tracks. And
you know, 2 albums right there.
I know, that's what everyone's saying. It was like, we should just make like 2-3 albums. I'm like, I want all this shit out now. You know?
Like, I don't want to wait. I want everybody.
Yeah, I want people, because you know, I get my motivation. I guess I've like learned to get it from almost anything, right? But some of the most powerful motivation comes from the feedback of the people. When you put something out, and you know, to see the feedback, and like just to see how hype people get, it's like, oh my god, I could do this again. And the way you can keep the music consistent, you know, I keep making music, and then the feedback keeps pushing me to make more, and then, you know, it's just a cycle.
You said, you know, you find inspiration from everything. I assume that some of that inspiration also has to come from your audience. How
100%. Yeah. So there's there are different styles of DJing. I come from the entertaining, catering to the audience, right? Trying to make sure the audience has a good time. There's also just a straight performance. People are here to see my performance, you know, like this is how I'm gonna perform. Yeah, it doesn't matter the energy, this is gonna be my performance, right? And it all works. But for me, I come from, you know, I was DJing with my dad, you know, at the family parties when I was younger. So I was very used to like making sure everybody was having a good time, making sure when it's time to start turning up the energy, start turning it back down. You know, they're gonna make an announcement. You know, the couple's gonna dance. You know, exactly. You gotta start to understand the energies and all that. So I think that worked out to my advantage because now people can come to my shows, and I have the mentality of making sure everyone has a good time. On top of that, my music is already very high energy. So high energy music tends to really help people have a good time.
Oh yeah.
You know?
I mean, it
So
helps
it's like I have
to work out too.
yeah, so it works really well for me, you know.
You think they can distinguish your sound when they hear, oh, they're like, this is Deorro?
You know what? I have gotten a lot of that. And like there's some music out there that like people are just like, hey, like this sounds a lot like you know, like I heard this and it sounds a lot like you. And I'm like, that's my song, you know, and like I guess I can't really hear it, you know. It's kind of like, you know how like everyone has a smell, you can't really smell yours, right. You know, like you can't, it's like I can't really hear it, but I guess people say that it's very high energy.
I was gonna say, you know, Ultra was supposed to be a couple of months from now. Like, how are you guys, like, how are you doing with all of these festivals that, you know, you're supposed to be playing at and now you're not playing at? Like, how are you?
You know, the beauty of it is that nothing really got canceled. Everything got postponed. The waiting game, and there is no, we don't fucking know. I predict festivals late 2022.
That's what I was gonna. That's my prediction is as well. I don't feel like we're gonna get back into concerts or anything until.
Yeah, and if we do it, it was gonna start off as fucking small club outdoors. Yeah. You know, and slowly work our way from there as the government gets more comfortable. As
to get back to normal, we all miss concerts, we miss venues. I mean, I miss being able to go to a club and go dance. You know? Yeah, I miss complaining about, oh man, the music or the DJ isn't playing my song.
Dude, you know, it's funny
about those things.
It's funny you say that because like people always ask me what I miss most about, like, you know, being on tour, and I'm like, I miss the shit I used to hate the most. I miss TSA. You know, I miss like waking up like with like only on like 2 hours of sleep, having to get to the airport. Like I miss that because that was my life. You know, that was my life, and I was used to that. And I'm pretty sure as soon as we get back to it, I'm gonna hate it again, but it's gonna be my life, you know.
We're gonna be complaining about it because we have no
time. Yeah, but that's how I love it, by hating it, you know.
Right. So, what's the name of your album? Can you tell me that? I think Me Siento Bien is actually a perfect song to kind of like come out and be like, yes, I have an album coming out. Like,
oh yeah, yes,
you know, because basically it's like what you told me prior to this is, you know, you went through like everything that we went through from the beginning and what you felt, and now te sientes bien. Now you are you are where you want to be.
Yeah, it's perfect. It's actually, so that's something that Alex Rose like brought to the table, right? Like the lyrics and everything. But you're right, it's like perfect, right? It's like coincidence.
So the music video, I was telling Jenna too, it gave me like Tony Montana vibes.
Yeah. So it was a homage to ScarFace.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. I was like, man, I don't know if it's me because even the girl, the model that was behind you.
Yeah. Yep.
I'm like, dude, she looks like Michelle Pfeiffer in the dress. Yeah. Like, I don't know. And I love that you guys had the money instead of other elements. Those were all things that made you feel good, right? Yeah.
So you know what? I always, you know, cause seeing all these like hip hop videos and all these reggaeton videos, you know, they're just like, damn, you know, that's what like the artists that are hot, that's what they do, you know. And like obviously it's always been something that I've always wanted to be a part of, but I don't make that kind of music, you know. So when the team approached me and they were like, yo, we want to do like a pool party vibes, you know, ScarFace with girls and money, I'm like, what? I'm down.
I know, even you come in with your cigar, you know, like,
you know, the funniest part is that like those like 25 seconds that I'm on screen on the video, are the only seconds, the only time of day where I wasn't smiling. Like I was just so happy. I was just funny. It was funny. It's like, look at me. I'm wearing these chains, and like I got my hair slicked back, and like I'm showing my chest hairs, and I just thought it was hilarious. I was having the time of my life.
Major Latin vibes going on for sure.
Exactly. You know, like we had all this fake money, and I'm like, wow, this is dope. So it was hard to keep a straight face because I was having a fucking blast.
So anyway, it was so much fun hanging out with you. Thank you so much for hanging out with me.
Thank you, Jackie. Yeah, everybody, thank you so much. This is Deorro. Thank you, Vibras TV. Huge shout out to them. Big hug. And please listen to my new song with Kura and Alex Rose, Me Siento Bien. Thank you so much.
Y por eso me siento